Hey guys, it's me, Kate again. So this video will be my March wrap-up. So this month I managed to read 8 books, which is around the middle of the road for me. I had months when I read, for example, 2 books, and the months I read, for example, 14 books. So it's around middle of the road. This is mostly impressive just because I was back in school. So 2 weeks I was in school full time, and 2 I was online in school, but still I was partially in school for 2 weeks. So I didn't think that I would read these many books. So the first book that I read is Time Machine by H.G. Wells, which it is tiny, but it took me impossibly a long time to read a book that's little over 100 pages, 111 pages long. So it took me impossibly a long time to read this for how tiny it is. I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars, mostly because some of the characters were a little bit boring, and because this is so short, like, you would think that at least characters would be a little bit interesting. And for example, none of the characters have names, so they're just called the time traveler, the psychologist, what else we have, so basically, for example, the provincial mayor, so they're basically called the thing that they are. They're not really given any names. So yeah, I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It was really enjoyable considering I was familiar with the story from school and also the Big Bang Theory, don't ask. And there's also a movie based on this book, so I was familiar with the stuff that happens, but if I hadn't known, this definitely would be lower. And I doodled a little bit because this square right here looked a little bit sad or white, so I doodled in the book. Then I read The Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. This book also contains 2 of his other stories, which are The Chimes and The Haunted Man. So I read all 3 of them. Even though The Christmas Carol was the only one officially on my TBR. The Christmas Carol is about the guy named Scrooge, who is basically a dick. He is always gloomy, he's rude to his peers, he's rude to everybody. And on Christmas Eve, 3 ghosts come to him: a ghost of Christmas past, ghost of Christmas present, and ghost of Christmas future, and they show him what kind of person he actually is. The other 2, I don't really remember what each of them was about, because I read this at the very beginning of the month. So I gave also this 4 out of 5 stars just because the writing and some of the characters, mostly in the other 2 stories, were didn't really mesh with me, but the story was interesting, so, and this what bumped this out for me. Then I read Shine by Jessica Jung, Jessica Jung is former K-pop star. She was part of the girls' generation. So this is about a girl named Rachel Kim, who is Korean American, and her family moved to Korea because she wants to be a K-pop star, and now she's 17 and still a trainee. And if she doesn't debut soon, she probably won't debut ever. Just because in K-pop you have a certain age by which you need to debut either as a solo artist or as a part of a group, or you won't at all. And one day she gets an opportunity to sing a duet with her label's golden boy Jason Lee, and things go from there. It is a little bit ridiculous, but what did you expect about the from the book about K-pop trainee? Then I read Charmcaster by Sebastien de Castell. I already said this, but I feel that I mentioned a book in this particular series so much just because I read first two last year, really loved them, and then basically they were in most of my end of the year videos, and this year I'm continuing on with that trend. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars, love it, love the characters and the plot and the writing and everything. Of course, two of my favorite characters are on the cover. Mr. Squirrel Cat is stealing something again, which is not surprising if you read these books. Again, tabbed this a lot, even though there is one book in my April wrap-up that you'll see that's even tabbed more than this one, which is surprising because how I love this series, but it was awesome. Then I read Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. Excuse my nail polish on the car just because I accidentally I just polished my nail, accidentally put one on the cover. So I love this, definitely one of my favorite books and the movies. I think that my favorites are 4th, 5th and 6th movie, and then 7th and 8th are like little bit less, and then it's the 3rd one, and then it's first 2 ones. But I love this game, 5 stars. So if you have been living under the rock since the 90s when the first book was published, Harry Potter is a kid who on his 11th birthday finds out he's a wizard and goes on to go to Hogwarts, which is wizarding school, where the whole hell breaks loose. And basically each year is crazier than the last one. At one point you start thinking that's not possible, but it is. Then I read The Empire of Storms by Sarah J. Maas, which is the only book that I read this month that wasn't on my TBR, and it's a big boy. This is over 500 pages, but I was wrong. This is 637 pages, so this is even over 600 pages. I have to say that this one is my least favorite in the series. Even though I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, it's still my least favorite out of the all. Just because in this one, one character that I don't really like, which I won't tell who it is if you haven't gotten to at least third book in the series, crosses paths and travels with main group, and I don't like that character, and that's why it put the book a little bit down for me, just because, yeah, that character annoys me. And one thing I will say, that character is a witch, I think, or at least in the book they use Croatian word for the witch. So, and I already said that I had really hard time with witches, wizards, mages, those kinds of stuff. Except in case of Spellslinger series and Harry Potter. I just noticed I haven't told what this is about. This is about a guy named Kellen who in the first book is just about to take his mage's trial when his magic starts to go do some stuff of its own, and he tries to cheat, and stuff of course goes from there. And now he and his trusted business partners Crockett are in other part of the world. So let's get back to this. So I do have problems in the most books with those kinds of stuff. So this wasn't really a surprise. So this fifth book in what is it called? Throne of Glass series, where we're following Selena Sardotian, who in the first book, at the beginning she's a slave in a mine, and basically one day the captain of King's Guard comes, gets her, and brings her to the prince, who wants her to be his champion in this competition to become King's assassin. And she's famous in this land because she was before she was enslaved the most trusted, the most successful assassin. And I said I gave this 4 out of 5 stars, which is not a low rating by any means, but it's still my least favorite of the series. And then the last book that I read was Aurora Rising by Amie, Kaufman and Kristoff, which is the first book in Aurora Cycle series, trilogy, whatever. Here we have, so we're following Tyler, who is a star in his class. He's top student, he's everything, but he's late to his graduation, and basically instead of picking his school from the top of the class, he gets everyone the bottom of the barrel. Literally, most of them are the people who nobody else picked, only two people that are not is his twin sister who wanted to be with her brother and her roommate, which is their best friend, who also turned down a lot of people to be in his school. And I think that the blurb describes this crew the best. A cocky diplomat with a black belt in sarcasm, a sociopathic scientist with fondness for shooting her bunkmates, smart as tech whiz with Galaxy's biggest chip on his shoulder, an alien warrior with anger management issues, and a tomboy pilot who's totally not into Thai, in case you were wondering. But the reason why Thai was late to his graduation is because he was rescuing this girl named Aurora, who was sleeping for how long in space? Let me. Let me just check. She was asleep for 227 years. Thank God I found it. So this book is one of my favorite tropes, which I can't say because it becomes part of the story, like part way through the book, so it's spoilery. And gosh, do I love that trope. If you read this book, it's connected to Mr. what's his name? I forgot his name. No. Is it Kai? Cal and Aurora. So it's connected to them. Yeah, that's it. I'll just chunk this into video somewhere. I forgot to mention that I read What If It's Us by Becky, Albertalli and Adam Silvera. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I loved it. Loved the characters, liked the writing, loved everything about it. I'm not sure where the book is right now, and if I pull it out, I think I'll drop like 10 that are on top of it. So yeah, bye bye. For this, for all the books that I read in month of March, I also started 2 other books, but I technically finished them on the 1st of April. So that will be in my April wrap-up. So yeah, that's it for this video. Down below you have my social media and my email and also some other stuff. If you like this video, like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.